Views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Wow, everybody, the timing of today's show could not be better. And I am telling you why. Here's why. I don't know if you all have experiencing the degree by which chaos has sort of entered into our consciousness. How does it get in there? And why is it that we cannot necessarily put our finger on chaos? I don't think we wake up and we say, wait a minute. I am in the middle of a chaotic life. My life's chaotic. World seems chaotic. Chaos. No, what happens is we start to have things become unmanageable. Marge Ptaszek joining me here today. This is Knowledge Book Radio, and she has agreed through Knowledge Book Radio to take on the dialogue of chaos. Now, for many of you, you know who Marge is, but you may not know that, she is the messenger, the Knowledge Book messenger. And Knowledge Book Radio is to do just that. It's to bring forth this guided awareness now, humanity guided towards consciousness, awareness, and this universal consciousness and unity about the truth. And today, this is one part of a bigger conversation and the work that Marge does. If you want to find out more, you can go to usa.theknowledgebook.net. That's www.usa.theknowledgebook.net. Today, we're talking about chaos. And is this a micro issue? Is it a macro issue? Or is it everything in between? Marge, I love this topic. Thank you.
Oh, love to be here. Thank you for having us. And goodness, chaos is a humongous topic, and we're all involved in it. However, there are those beings who have done their evolutionary homework, and they are removed from this chaos. So the entire purpose of this chaos and what's going on right now is exactly that what has been foretold to us in the previous sacred texts. We were told that there is a resurrection coming. We were told that there is a harvesting time that will be coming. And exactly this is where we are right now. And the chaos, even though it may seem very chaotic and very unnerving, is specifically designed to allow us to arise above it, to evolve by means of it, and arrive at a different level of consciousness, evolution, and humanity. And eventually to build to being a genuine human. So we've gone through previously, the last 6,000 years have been training and educating programs for us, starting with the meditation technique that started in Tibet, and that was the first 2,000-year program for us. And as usual, some humans were able to accomplish that program of drawing down conscious thought, to bring down godly consciousness through thought power. And the rest of us were sent to the remedial school, is the way I like to call it. Not really remedial, but the next phase of education, which came with the Moses and the Kabbalah. So they're all very high energy and frequency programs that are designed for the people who lived at that particular point in time. And over these periods and over this time, humanity was accustomed to the energies coming from those programs, meditation and the Kabbalah. And eventually, after another 2,000 years, we received the teachings of Christ, of Jesus Christ. And this is where love came into the picture. And besides love, we also had the prophet of Muhammad that came in, and he is the one that gave us knowledge, social knowledge. And so these combined two periods were the next 2,000 years or so. And so we went through altogether 6,000 years of evolution and training. And in Knowledge Book, it is called the First Order of Allah, the Second Order of Allah, and the Third Order of Allah. And as of the year 2000, the period of religions and the sacred books basically finished. That time of education is finished for most of us. There are still those individuals who need to go through that accumulation of those energies coming from the sacred texts, coming from the religious dimension. And what we are in right now, which is a period of what you call chaos, but at the same time, this is a period of the Fourth Order of Allah. And this is where anything and everything that we are seeing that is going on in this planet is specifically designed to produce and create a world that will be a world where everyone accepts each other, where everyone will be, there will be no discrimination between race and religions, and there will be a single world state of the morrow, one flag, no borders, no discrimination, and every being that will be here will be citizens of the earth, and they will have godly energy. And this is the program that will start in the 23rd century. So even though we may think that we are being, put into a very uncomfortable and chaotic situation, as long as we learn the lesson of that chaos and what that chaos is trying to teach us, then we will progress and we will evolve. So let me give you an example.
Please, yes.
Let's say there is a war going on.
Yeah.
And depending on how we approach the topic, whether we go out there and get a gun and join the soldiers and start shooting, then everyone, including ourselves, gets to know what our consciousness level is. Are we still depending on some kind of form of violence to solve our issues? On the other hand, if there is a person who comes in and says, listen, guys, we could settle this in a different way. How about we sit down at the table? Let's list our grievances. Let's list what it is that we need and how we need it, and see we could work this out. So this is a person at a different consciousness level, and everyone, including themselves, knows what their evolution consciousness level is, including the celestial and especially the celestial powers. So depending how we react and what we do in every situation that hits us, that we are involved in, then specific help is given to us. So perhaps those who are still depending on violence to accomplish their ends, maybe they go back to the morality code that is given in the religious dimension, and they have a refresher course in that one. And the person who is more of a peaceful person who wants to negotiate and work together with someone else, who recognizes that everyone has a need that needs to be met and that we can all accomplish meeting all the needs together, then they are given on a different path. Perhaps they would come into the knowledge book. or do some meditation or whatever it is that they need. So all these circumstances that we go through are basically a means to an end. And that end is unification, that end is peace, and that end is brotherhood, sisterhood. So it may be tough and it's going to get tougher, but in the end, everything will be okay.
You know, I want to ask you this question, and we can talk about this when we come back from break, is that, you know, I look at where we are today, and I have this relative perspective, if you don't mind. And here's what I mean by that. I look at where we are today and how connected we are through digital media, through electronic devices, through the internet, through radio, through television, you name it. We're all connected. You know, we all have an opportunity to be in everybody else's business for everybody to be in our business. And what I mean by that is the level of chaos seems to me a relative state of mind. Now, does that mean that we are more chaotic now than we've been before? Does it say that this chaos of our time is any more relevant than the chaos of the time that Moses walked the earth? I don't know. And does it matter? When we come back, Marge, the knowledge book, and all of that. And by the way, we are taking your questions. 1-800-930-2819. Just love this. What is it about humanity's history that we could learn from or maybe create differently? I don't know. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Basili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic.
Are you ready to start winning at the game of life? Lynn Brown, host of Get Into It, Winning at the Game of Life, is here to help you reach places and goals that you never thought possible. Lynn is an intuitive healer with a specialized background in financial healing. She combines her intuitive nature and her wholesome approach to financial planning. To learn more about her financial planning services, contact her personally at intuit.com.
Introducing the Lucid Planet, a digital gathering place featuring cutting-edge, high-vibrational content that will empower and inspire you to become the greatest version of yourself. Visit the Lucid Planet today to stimulate your mind, body, and soul as you connect with a global community of like-minded people. The Lucid Planet is edited by renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly Neff, who is here to help you cope with anxiety, connect to your higher purpose, uncover your true passions, and live your dreams. Dr. Kelly's fresh, compassionate perspective emphasizes growth, transformation, healing, and thriving, even in the face of adversity. Say goodbye to bad news and low vibrational media for good and become part of the larger collective of people working together to navigate the global shift of consciousness and transform the world from within. Join the planet, the Lucid Planet. Visit thelucidplanet.com. Welcome home.
Tune in to the Psychic Professors Show, The Voices of Spirit Radio, with international medium and spirit artist Dr. Susan Barnes on Transformation Talk Radio, featuring a variety of spiritual topics such as psychic art, spiritualism, EVP, psychic development, and mediumship. This hit call-in show provides listeners with breakthrough wisdom to enliven and enlighten their lives. Visit spiritartgallery.net for show days and times.
Wow, Benny, I like that song. Oh my gosh, everybody.
Did you ever see Aerosmith in concert?
I did, but what year was that, though, that I would have seen them? I have to think it was, we got to go back in the day for me to figure that out.
Okay.
But I have to tell you, I think they are exactly what Marge is talking about, because when you have people that come forth with that energy, and we're looking at those particular vibrations that are brought forth in the world, the question is, why them that time, right? It's like, why this time? Why that time? Why this now, this time? And then, by the way, nobody really understands why any of the music from the 80s actually ever really did happen. But that's another show, Marge. I'm just still trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. Air Supply, maybe. Okay, now that's me being critical. I don't want to be, because I loved Air Supply. But my point is this, and this is what you and I were talking about during the break. Things happen in the world at certain times. Things don't happen necessarily, do they, because of a world thing? But is it more of an evolution of things, most importantly, vibration and consciousness? And so the question really is, why Aerosmith at the time that Aerosmith did that? But more importantly, why us now? Why us now for the past 6,000 years? Why us now? Why time changing now? Why the internet now? Why connecting all of us now? And is it really chaos or not, Marge?
On the one sense, we may be experiencing it as chaos, because in the third dimension, in the world dimension, then what we're going through is seen as chaos, as something that's unconnected, disconnected, discombobulated, nothing makes sense. In the world dimension, the person who's sitting, if our bodies are a car, then the driver, the one who sits behind the steering wheel as to where that car goes, that driver is the ego, which means it's me, myself, and I. Me is more important than anything else, and I can do anything I want because I need to preserve and maintain my life, okay? So that's the world dimension. In the universal dimension, there is serenity, there is calmness, there is patience, there is tolerance, there is acceptance of things as they are. And there is a knowledge and there is a consciousness of how things are working, how things are doing, how things are going, and what the entire goal is. So in terms of why those people at that time, every time has its own specific energies and frequencies that we need to get accustomed to. So during the time of Moses, during the time of Jesus, during the time of meditation, the situations would be different because the time and the consciousness level, evolution level of those people would also be different. If we had brought those people from that time to this present time, they would not be able to bear the energies and the frequencies that are coming at us right now. We do not have the same bodies that we had during those previous times. And every artist, every poet, every author, every painter, every fashion designer, they are very special beings. The artists are those who can go to high dimensions, bring back knowledge, and engraft us, give us an idea of something different, that there is something going on in the future that is they're bringing into the present for us to be able to get a little bit accustomed to it. It's like getting a vaccine shot. Mm-hmm. So if we're thinking about, let's say, Jules Verne, I mean, everything that he talked about and wrote about is coming true. Everything. Yeah. So those artists, yes. And if you listen to the lyrics of some of the songs that are being played right now, K-pop, whatever it is you're listening to, those lyrics are telling you the truth. Those lyrics are coming in and telling you there is something that needs to be done, something different that needs to be accessed. So this is where the knowledge book comes in, because this is where the knowledge book, by giving us the truth, by giving us the scope of where we've been and the scope of where we're going and what we're destined to go to, and giving us a perspective, we remove ourselves from this chaos. We basically, by going into the universal dimension, we go into a much higher level of consciousness, and we are not affected by everything that's going on. And whatever comes at us, whatever experience comes at us, then we know, okay, this is something, it's either a test to see whether I remember what I had learned, or this is maybe something that I still need to learn that I had forgotten. However, once we know what that lesson is and what we have learned, then the lesson doesn't appear again. So in the example that I had given before about this person taking up a gun and joining the fight, maybe this person will have to go through the karma of being killed for him to learn not to kill anymore. And right now, part of the cause of what's going on this planet is that we have beings coming in that are being born that have a much higher karma to pay off, which means they will need to have to go through much more difficult lessons for them to learn the lessons that they hadn't learned so far. So this is where we are, and the knowledge book allows us to have a different perspective, a different viewpoint, and over time and working with the knowledge book, your positive energies increase, your negative energies decrease. You are able to help people just by walking around and doing the reading or the writing, whatever it is that we are doing. And you have an effect on people just by being you. And this is an amazing journey, an amazing perspective. And we are now in the fourth order of Allah. And this is where the conscious human will progress. This is where the conscious human will evolve and grow. And where we started being a micro energy, we have now come to the point where we need to become a macro energy. And that macro energy is the one that will be able to leave this dimension, leave this planet, and go to other dimensions. So this is where we are right now.
You know what? I love that we're talking about this, Marge, because, I have often thought about, as a very young child, being fascinated by what we now look back at and we call the paranormal, we call psychic realms, but basically what we're talking about is consciousness. And, I loved as a kid becoming completely immersed in things. And I'm really fascinated by how super connected we are as human beings and our creative energy. And what I mean by that is, this idea about having a thought and it shows up in our pop culture, let's say. I don't think there's any mistake right now that what we're seeing in the United States, but now it's all over the world, our fascination with superheroes and looking at these archetypes. And then let's go back to Joseph Campbell's discussions of archetypes, or let's go back and look at Carl Jung's discussions and having them manifest now in this way. I don't think there's a disconnect. I think that there's a connection of consciousness around this, but I'm not sure if I'm on track with what you're saying in the knowledge book. My sense is that we're not just innocent bystanders in the world of creation, are we?
Oh my goodness. Are we bystanders? Definitely not. And a lot of us unconsciously are creating a hell for ourselves because of our thoughts. It is our thoughts that create the reality that we are living through. So if you have thoughts of jealousy and anger and frustration and me, I, power, greed, fame, then you will be living in a realm of creating a hell for yourself. And we are now in a position to also create a heaven for ourselves. So basically, by doing the work in the knowledge book, we are creating a heaven for ourselves here on this planet Earth. We're working in the world dimension, but we are not connected to it in the sense that it is the driver, that it's not sitting behind the steering wheel of our bodies and ourselves. So in terms of the driver as far as the universal dimension is concerned. There is love, there is compassion, there is honor, there is respect for everything as it is because it is.
Yeah.
We understand that all of us are the same, that we are all children of God. And when you're talking about superheroes, we are the superheroes.
Yeah.
We are the ones who basically have made a covenant, have made an agreement to be here. Actually, 2 billion, that's B. 2 billion people, 2 billion beings have promised to come here on Earth and work to help and save humanity and serve humanity, but only 2 million are actually doing it. So we are those who have come here with a purpose, and some of us still don't remember what that purpose is. One of the downfalls of coming back is basically completely forgetting what it is that we were supposed to do and what we were supposed to accomplish. And even Mevlana, when she was informed that, Mevlana, you have to bring this book down to the world, and you promised to do this. And she basically told them, who, me? Are you kidding? In essence. Are you sure you're not, I mean, I'm paraphrasing. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Actually, I know a couple of people, or maybe more than a couple of people, who could do this job much, much better than me. I don't think I could do this at all. And then, of course, the response was, wait a minute, this was your idea. You volunteered. This was your idea. You volunteered. You came here with this specific purpose. And she, being the being that she is, basically said, okay, fine, prove it to me. Show me. And they did. And over a period of 10 years, she was shown many things. She was taken to many places. And over that time, she became firmly convinced of the truth of it all. And that's when she started her mission with an easy heart, with ease of heart. So the reason I'm saying this is that we're all, in a sense, Mevlana's. Who, me?
I'm laughing.
You're kidding. You can't be talking about me. You got to be talking about somebody else. I don't remember any such thing.
It has to be somebody else, Marge, because, it's so funny when you said that, because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this is like our 14th year. And, I never thought in a million years that this kid from the Bronx, who I stuttered most of my teen, and, I kept saying for years, are you really sure that you want me to do this? I don't know anything about this. Why do you want me to do this positive talk radio spiritual thing? I can't be that person. There's got to be somebody else. I mean, and I'm still saying that, Marge, and I don't know what it's going to take, for us to fully say, yeah, just do it. Yeah. Yeah. But let's take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk with you about this and what is the role that we play, because I am really capable of this. I know this. I can take a completely peaceful environment and within a nanosecond have a projection that looks like a little mini earthquake. But why is it that I would choose that? And why is it that I wouldn't? Stay tuned when we come back. We're going to share more about the knowledge book studies, where you can find out more about them, how you can be involved in them. And we're going to talk about what is the world dimension vortex? What is that? And what is it about that vortex that so many tap into and so many learn from? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Gain powerful insight and practical tools to support you on your spiritual journey. Access your higher self and tune in every second and fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific to A Life Untethered with Andrew Martin, Walking the Path of Freedom. Andrew is a highly attuned, intuitive oracle, energy worker, spiritual teacher, and international radio host. For more about Andrew and his services, visit thelightones.com.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. I'm telling you, I got to pinch myself some days, because when each of us gets called to do something that we so not thought was in our wheelhouse to do for a purpose that's so much greater than us, we get to show up and shine.
If you would like to show up and shine on the Dr. Pat Show as a co-host or sponsor, send us an email to inspire@thedrpatshow.com.
Brand consultant Jen Morgan is here with Radically Distinct Radio to help you take control of your future and maximize your brand's power to produce results. Whether you're an individual trying to reinvent yourself and launch a new venture, or you're an executive trying to reposition your company to modernize your sales and marketing programs, Jen Morgan and the RAD Method empower you to play to your strengths and show up in the world as your most powerful brand. To learn more, go to jenmorgan.com. That's Jen with 2 N's, Morgan.com, or call 206-972-5366.
The Earth is an ever-changing being. Goddess Light Shamanic Healer Bree Gibbs guides us through the ascending worlds, bringing forth knowledge and truth. As a light creator, she is here to provide new information needed at this time in our evolution. Join Bree as she shares messages from guides, spirits, ascended masters, goddesses, and others. Tune in the second and fourth Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific, and Thursdays, 1 p.m. Pacific for Silver Gaia Radio.
Do you keep attracting the same type of guy over and over? Do you believe all of the good guys are taken and you might be single forever? Hi, my name is Deb Acker, and in addition to being the host of Truth Talk Radio, I'm an intuitive life coach and energy healer. I clear energy blocks to all areas of life, including love. Did you know that many times the thing that keeps us attracting the same type of person is energy related? What if you could complete this pattern for good to attract conscious, loving men? Don't think it's possible? Several years ago, this is where I was, and I went on a journey to figure out how to undo this for myself, and I now help others with this. I love helping clients clear this pattern for good to have the love they so desire and deserve. If this resonates for you and you're ready to be truly done attracting the same type of person, I'd love to gift you with my pattern identification session. Simply contact me on the contact page of my website, DeborahAcker.com. That's DeborahAcker.com. And let me know you heard about this gift through Transformation Talk Radio. I look forward to connecting soon.
Everybody, welcome back. 1-800-930-2819, or you can go to transformationtalkradio.com and, put your questions in there. Knowledge Book Radio here with Marge Ptaszek joining me on the show. We're just laughing because we're asking ourselves, we're looking at our lives and we're looking at the things we're doing and we're thinking about this idea of chaos and how do we escape it. And Marge, you and I were just having a moment right here where you were looking at the show description and saying, well, where did they get that from? And I just had a similar experience with something else. But the thing I love about this is when we're in that moment of consciousness, right? I'll tell you, when I do this show, everything around me stops. Time stops. It's just me and you and the listeners here now. And of course, Benny. But time stops. I'm not going to remember an hour from now what we've talked about. But what is it that we can learn from that talks to this world of universal dimensionality and chaos in that world dimension? This world dimension vortex that I mentioned. It's astonishing to me.
The world dimension sucks you in. It pulls you in. This is the vortex that you want to get out of. Mm-hmm. This is where you get so wound up in what's going on in the world, with your job, with the kids, with this, with that, with the other, that you fail to stop and think, how do I get out of it? and it just pulls you in. You like going here, you like going there, everything is great, everything is wonderful, but at the same time, you have all kinds of issues, all kinds of problems, and you don't know what to do with them. So that's the world, because that is where the ego is the driver, and the ego is the one who conflicts with other egos, and they want to have the same thing at the same time. And they have this car, I have to have a better car. They have this house, I have to have a better house, because this is the ego conflicting with the other egos, and this is where war, this is conflict, this is all kinds of things that are coming out. And then there's the other side, and that's going to the universal side. And this is the side where you are connected to a completely different dimension. And this is where serenity comes in. This is where acceptance, tolerance, peace, love, friendship come in. And to get to that dimension, at some point in time, you finally, got to the point that enough is enough. There's something got to be done about this thing that I am constantly in a mess, that I'm constantly in turmoil, that I'm constantly at a war with myself. And there comes a time where that world dimension kind of kicks you, wakes you up and says, I got to get out of here. Yeah. And you start searching, you start looking, you start questing, you start asking questions. Can I do things differently? What is there? What answers are out there? And at this point, and throughout time, actually, the cosmos has been given us answers to exactly those questions. And depending on our evolution and consciousness level at each period of our history, each period of our evolution, it was giving us different means to achieve an end that allowed us to rise out of this chaos. So whether that was the meditation or reciting mantras, whether that was doing the studies of the Kabbalah, whether that was going to church and performing rituals or whatever in synagogue or temple or in church, wherever you go, you had specific formal practices that allowed you to rise above the world dimension. Right now we are given the knowledge book, and that now is specifically designed for us at this time period, at our current consciousness and evolution level, to allow us to go to the next step. So the programs that are associated with the knowledge book are the reading program, the writing program, there is the councils of 3, and totalities of 18. Each one of these is specifically designed for a specific purpose, and the ultimate goal is for us to become genuine humans. Now, we can start with the reading program, and this is a program that usually people start out with. And right now, the knowledge book there's a new program of 7 billion books for 7 billion. Wow. And basically, in this case, previously, the different versions of the knowledge book were produced in a different way, so it became a little bit harder to understand. Right now, the sentences and the paragraphs have been opened, meaning where before we had paragraphs that would be 3 or 4 sentences long. Right now, we have paragraphs that are only a sentence long. Wow. And when we read, when we look at a word, our eye captures that frequency of that word. And when the eye transfers that frequency to the brain, and when that brain is at that frequency, there is a section in the brain that it has that frequency, then we are able to understand that word. That's why it is so easy to read world books, because we're all basically at the same energy and frequency. However, as far as the knowledge book is concerned, every one of those words connects to a separate dimension, a different dimension. And unless you are at the frequency, or your evolution is at the frequency of that dimension, you will not be able to remember or understand what is being read. So the current version of the knowledge book opens up those sentences, so there's like more space in between the words, and it becomes easier for our eye to catch those frequencies, and therefore for our brains to be able to understand what is being read. However, there is something else that is absolutely marvelous that's going on, and it is this. The knowledge book itself is able to bring into itself on a daily basis, on a second-by-second basis, whatever time consciousness is available at that time. And it imparts to us, gives to us, downloads to us those energies, those frequencies, that knowledge for which we are ready, and blocks everything that is too much for us out. Now, with this new program of 7 billion books for 7 billion, everyone will have their own book, and they will put the date, their name, printed, and put their signature on it. And once they do that, that book becomes their individual teacher. And it opens up and connects to the dimension of the All Merciful, which is the dimension of light, the light universe. And this is what we had known previously as the Almighty. And it gives to us and opens to us that entire gamut of infinite energies and frequencies and gives it to us. Now, the special deal about this is this. Number one, each one of us has at least 1,000 people to which we are connected and which are at basically our same level, at our own coordinate. So as we're reading, the first time that we are doing this readings program, which starts on February 19th, but when we're doing this specific program, as we are reading, the first time we go through the book, the powers that be, the celestial workers, go through and find in other words, first they find what coordinate we are on, evolution, frequency, knowledge, and finds on the planet, at least 1,000 of beings who are at our own coordinate. And then when we are reading one fascicule a day, one chapter a day on a daily basis, then whatever we are reading, we are also engrafting consciousness into those 1,000 beings. And all we're doing is sitting in our own room, in our comfortable couch, reading, and maybe spending 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day just reading a chapter. And we are helping 1,000 individuals. When we finish the complete round of the knowledge book, which is like we read the knowledge book 6 times a year in effect, then the next time we start the next reading program, then again, the system goes out there and takes a look at us and says, Marge, okay, she's here, here, and here. Let's see how many people are at that consciousness level now. Because now, since you've gone through the 6 rounds of reading, you're at a different energy level because your positive energy has been increased, your negative energy has been decreased, you are able to vibrate, your resonance is at a much higher level, your body is much stronger, and therefore it looks and finds 1,000 more at least coordinates out there, and again you're helping those coordinates over lifetime. So you go step by step by step. Now this is something new that was added to this program now. Previously, and it still continues, the knowledge book, when you do this reading program, which is a special program, it starts on February 19th of every year. Basically, as you are reading, again, those energies and frequencies that will be harmful to you are blocked, and that includes when we are open to the world vortex, we are open to any and every dimension that is there. And not all dimensions are positive dimensions. There are negative dimensions. That's number one. And number two, some of those dimension energies that are coming to us have a radioactive factor, which means they could cause cancer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what the knowledge book does by when we successfully complete the entire round of 6 times reading the knowledge book in the year, then we are in a protective bubble of the aura of the knowledge book, and those energies and frequencies that could be harmful to us are blocked. So it's a protective mechanism. It is a way for us to evolve. It is a way for our consciousness to grow because you have a better idea of who we are, where we came from, because as the knowledge book is giving us the truth, we can gauge and compare, okay, if this is what a genuine human is, where am I on that scale? And if these colors mean this, and if these colors mean that, what am I wearing? And how does that, so you learn and you find yourself in this book. Okay, you learn who you are and what you're supposed to be doing, and you're evolving at all this time. So this is the reading program, and this is where the consciousness is being affected. And your thought process is always engaged.
Now, I got a question from somebody just came in, Marge, and I'm going to skip the break so we can keep going here.
Okay.
Question came in from Mary. Would you please give out the website again And this is a question. This is interesting. Mary, thank you for your question. Could you please give out the website again? How do we get a copy of the book? And Pat, DRP, somebody that must know me here, is your guest talking about the learning disability you have? Okay, I need to thank you, Mary, and let's just get to the first part of the question. Marge, people are asking, how can we find out more? And I said you can go to www.usa.theknowledgebook.net. The next question is, how do we get a copy of the book?
Okay,
Good question.
Very good question. I like that question.
I like that.
Okay, so once you go into the website, you can obtain the knowledge book using a credit card or a PayPal account.
Okay.
Or if you want to do something different, then you would contact, mmjp99@gmail.com.
Okay.
However, on the front page, if you scroll all the way to the bottom of that page, there will be like a teal turquoise section on the bottom.
Yep.
And there are like 4 columns. In the second column on the top, there is something purchasing the book online. Click here.
Got it.
And that takes you to the purchasing page, and then it becomes self-explanatory. If you have any issues or anything about with the website or the purchasing, give me a call. We can walk through it together.
And for those of you, we're going to put a banner of this on our site so you can just click right off of Transformation Talk Radio. Okay, learning disability. Boy, this is something, Mary, you must be a long-time listener to know that little story. Okay, so Marge, what Mary's talking about is, I didn't know that I was learning different. Now, in the old days, they said you had a disability when you didn't learn like the rest of the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I got into this doctoral program, and I'm sitting next to Vinda from Thailand, and she's trying to copy from my paper the statistical equations on the board because she can't see it. And so Vinda says to me, she pokes me and says, "You're writing down all the wrong things." And so now I know why I was flunking statistics. I didn't flunk out thanks to Vinda. So later on, I said, no, I'm not. So here's what I discovered in my first year of my graduate program in 1994. And the reason why I never do well on tests, I don't do well on GREs, but I know how to put concepts together really well. Hence, my research won all sorts of awards, right? Never been studied before, blah, blah, blah. When people, and why I'm so good at this job, when you speak, Marge, I don't see words. I see pictures. So when you speak, when anybody speaks, so when you speak about the knowledge book as you were just speaking, everything you say, I don't see sentences. I see complete images of things. Now, I don't know if those images are right or not, but that's what I do. I have this thing where my brain translates the words to pictures and colors and not to other words. So in the world of learning, that's called a disability. In the world of research, it's called an easy way to put constructs together. That's what Barry's talking about.
But at the same time, you're touching on something that is absolutely important, because every letter, every word has a particular frequency, has a particular meaning, has a particular dimension to which it is connected to, and it has a sound and it has a color. So eventually, as we evolve, there will be a language that the knowledge book calls the Isolon language, where the language of the words that we are talking right now will disappear, and we'll be communicating by words by this other language. And I suspect that language will be a language of concepts and being able to understand, because we can send energies and frequencies to each other, and we will be able to interpret those energies and frequencies as ideas, as concepts, as truths.
Wow.
So this is how the knowledge book actually works, and this is how our brain works. So part of the function of the knowledge book is to allow our brain to work at a different level. we get put through brain gymnastics, as it calls it, meaning nothing is really given to you. You have to really want to know to be able to receive. Some things you automatically receive because you're already ready for it, and everything is received, and your brain is just, drinking it up. However, there are some concepts that you need to work at and get to the evolution dimension of for you to be able to understand. So it's anyone who enjoys a puzzle, anyone who enjoys solving a mystery or whatever. I mean, this is right up your alley.
Well, it's fascinating because, thank you, Mary, for remembering that. Because I shared a much longer story about how this thing that was viewed early on for me in school as being learning different, right? I cannot take structured GRE exams or those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not created in a way that when I read the question, that I'm going to give you back an equal answer, because I want to give you back a story. And that's what Mary was reflecting. And I shared with the listeners, Marge, how this particular disability ultimately became a gift for creating constructs and concepts that were researchable, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, drawing boxes that had arrows together is something that I can do really, really well, and then understand them well, and then in empirical terms, prove them to the academic world.
Mm.
When in my mind, I know them to be true to begin with. But, concepts, I think, and I want to get back to what you were talking about. Concepts right now and visualizations of the world are really, really vibrating for people. And, I'm not kidding when I said that these superhero movies are now what people relate to, because they are so visual. They represent visual constructs of things like peace, right? Things like empowerment, things like, heroic actions for mankind or humankind. And I want to ask you about that. What are the messages that, in 3 minutes or left, what are the messages that the knowledge book is bringing forward for us to bring to the world?
First and foremost, we need to remember who we are and that we are here to serve. A lot of us, those 2 billion who signed the covenant, and the 2 million who actually are remembering and actually doing the work, we need to actually fulfill our covenant, fulfill our contract, and serve. So this is where the goal is altruism, of where the ego disappears and the service appears instead. So it is always thinking of someone else ahead of yourself, and the ego, which is the driver for power, for war, for greed, for all that stuff, disappears, and a world that is filled with people who accept each other, who love each other, to cooperate with each other, who produce things that have not been produced before together, is created. And the means by which it is done is through the programs that are associated with the knowledge book, through the experiences that we go through, and through the energies and frequencies and the knowledge that the book gives us. And this is a shortcut. They are trying, the powers that be, the celestial authorities are trying to make sure that all of us get this knowledge and get it as quickly as we can. And we ourselves are basically shooting ourselves at our own feet by not being open enough, by not having gone through our evolution to where we are beyond the ego and look for something different. But as we were saying, this chaos, this realm that we are in, is exactly the driver that we need at this point to get us going, to get us moving, because we don't like the pain. We want to get out of the pain. Therefore, we will search and find something that will replace the pain. And this is where the knowledge book comes in with knowledge, with truth, with energies and frequencies that will allow us to actually get ourselves out of it.
Awesome. Marge, thank you so much for the show today. And, I'm hoping that the next show we might talk about stop looking for the superhero outside yourself and talk about the superhero within. Marge Ptaszek, the Knowledge Book, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Lights go out and I can't be saved. Tides that I tried to swim against brought me down upon my knees. Oh, I beg and plead, singing, come out of things unsaid. Shoot an apple off my head and a trouble that can be.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.